Hey guys, this is Roland here, coming at you with a special edition of 7 Days to Die. Recently on the forums, there was a discussion about um, backpack size and about whether there's enough inventory slots or whether there should be one more row or even more than that or less than that. And of course, everybody has a different opinion on that. And so basically, what came of it was I wondered, what if you played the game with only your tool belt available? So that's what this playthrough is going to be about. See how far I can go with just the tool belt. And the way that I plan to accomplish that is to um, craft enough plant fiber gloves to fill up my entire backpack inventory, like so. And and then the only slots that I'll have available will be my tool belt. So I went ahead and kind of skipped the first part of gathering up all those plant fibers and crafting them into the gloves. Um, and so from this point on, it should be uncut, and we'll see how I do. I should also mention that I'm playing with a UI mod that minimizes the HUD. So while I'm actually playing in the world, nothing shows up on the screen. Uh, just want to give credit to both The Walking Dad for hat mod and also Sphery too for um, the clear HUD, I think is what he calls it. Invisible HUD or clear HUD. Anyway, both of these fine modders have created this type of play style where it's just you and the world. No crosshairs, um, no status bars, no pop-ups, nothing. And I just absolutely enjoy playing this way, and thought that I would go ahead for this playthrough. Um, use this mod as well to kind of put it out there, and I believe Sphere's mod uses SDX, and um, The Walking Dad's Hap mod just uses XML and non-SDX uh, changes to the code. So uh, I could recommend either one. So it's great. I don't think there's any other modifications to the game. Everything else is just default. So uh, as you can see, there's not a lot of space to do anything. So first thing I figured out really fast is that I was going to need a storage chest, just even for this initial area where I would be gathering things up. And it looks like I already, yeah, later I kind of regretted one thing that I did. I thought, well, I don't care about my torch, so I just dropped it and then lost it. Um, what I should have done was stuck it to a tree and then come back for it. But oh well, I am now torchless. So one of the things I did notice was that uh, with this game style that I'm playing with no inventory, um, you become very single-minded. There's, you're gathering wood, or you are, as I'll find out here pretty soon, you're collecting stones, because right there everything's filled up. And even though I'm gonna get rid of these seeds from my inventory and plant them, uh, I still don't think I'm gonna be able to. Yep, right there you can see I dropped that, but I don't have any room for any nitrate that I might get from the stone. So it is quite limiting. You have to decide, am I gonna go and chop wood right now, or am I going to go and harvest boulders? You know, why not? Yep, see, there goes my nitrate just floating away in the wind. And I think this is kind of where I figured out that I needed to make sure to mark my storage crate on my map, at least in a general sense, so that I could find it again, especially in all the tall grass. Yeah, see, now I'm looking at this again as I'm watching what I did here. I don't think I need that fiber on my belt. I could have dropped that off as well. And see right there, now I'm already full. So even just this beginning part, I mean, normally if I was gonna play, you know, the first moments here in the safe zone, and I'm gathering resources, I wouldn't have to worry about, you know, what I'm carrying, you know. And even now, even with this, I have left that stupid pine cone in my belt 2 or 3 times now, instead of just dropping it or planting it to get it out of there. So, you know, still not quite hurting for space. I'm able to get all the stuff that I need as long as I know what I'm focused on. But in a normal play where I've got all the inventory space, I could have picked all that cotton right there, no problem. But with just playing with only a tool belt, you need to just focus on what you're looking for. Oh, how nice. Finally figured it out. And of course those I can just go right to wear. I don't have to put those on in my inventory or anything at this point. So things like that, the duct tape, you know, I for a second I was thinking, should I just leave it? Do I really need it? But you know, for splints, you never know when you're going to break a leg. I think it's important to make sure to, you know, if you come across some duct tape, take it if you can. Alright, so now 2 more inventory slots are going to be taken by the bow and the arrows. So that'll be even less that I can use. Which brought me to my next realization. In normal play, I tend to like to have the bow in the first slot of my toolbar, and then right next to that a club. And I'll do a combination of, you know, shooting zombies and hopefully making them knock back and fall to the ground, and then switching to my club and bashing them in the head. That kind of helps me to conserve arrows. And it's, you know, it makes combat a little bit more interesting when you can switch it up and use one weapon and then another type. But then I started thinking to myself, with this setup, with only my tool belt, I can't afford another slot for a melee weapon. So I'm just going to go with arrows, and that's it. No club. I could have chosen just the club, which would have given me an extra inventory slot, but you know, the wooden club, it takes a while, and I didn't want to have to spend that much time killing each zombie. This is just the default difficulty. So with the bow with just the stone head arrows, it usually just takes, for normal regular zombie types, a few arrows. I mean, if you knock them down and then do one arrow to the head, you can sometimes, if you're lucky, get them in 2 arrows, and sometimes it takes 3 or 4. And then, of course, with the hit boxes and arrows going crazy right through the heads and things, sometimes it can take more. So it'll be interesting. Not to mention the fact that there's no crosshair, so I'm just using the tip of the arrow in my hand to sight enemies. Makes for a fun challenge. I got really lucky with this house because the forge that's straight up back in there is a working forge, so that helped quite a bit. Yes, it kills me to just leave piles of stuff behind, even though I know it's probably just broken glass, and who really needs that at this point? But still, just there it is, just sitting there on the ground, and I can't pick it up. Maybe I'll go back for it here in a second. So, you know, having stashes becomes so much more important. It is amazing. It was how grateful I felt for having this house with these cupboards that I could just throw stuff into if I needed to. also kind of lucked out because this guy was caught in one of those circle loops. And then of course I couldn't get to his head. Dang it. Now he's going to jump up on the railing a few times. That's so cool how his arm hangs down through there. I like that. Whoa. See, that should hit. There we go. Yay, it works. Just had to make sure. That was probably a waste. You know, chairs gives you some good time on good burn time. Oh, look, a wolf right out there, but I just didn't feel confident. Usually when I fight a wolf, I like to have a barbed wire fence on me to lay it down and get it snared up so I can then just shoot it while it's immobilized. But I didn't have any of that created, and so I just let that wolf go. Now, see, this was something that was kind of interesting. I can't explain it here, but the feeling that I had after I opened that garbage pile and got those two items, I felt like my hands were full. And my intention was to go and get some more stone and maybe get some more ore that I could go stick in the forge. But I felt like I couldn't go and do that because my hands were filled with these things that I found in that garbage pile. I needed to go and, you know, stick them in a cupboard somewhere before I go back out. And, you know, I have to say I kind of like that feeling. I mean, I know that in the long term, playing this game through several days and only having a tool belt, and having to go and transfer items so frequently would get tedious and boring and kind of dumb and everything. So I get that, but at least for this first playthrough for right now, it really was kind of a cool feeling. I know people don't like the realistic word, but it felt a little bit more realistic. So I could hear the snake, but I could not see it. And I'm interested to see now, right now, while I'm watching. Oh, there it is. Yeah, it almost got me. I hate snakes in this game. I'm about to waste a ton of arrows on this stupid thing. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Ah, this is ridiculous. 16, 17, 18, and then I figured it's just not worth it. And there you got him. So many arrows and one piece of meat and one piece of animal hide that I couldn't even pick up. See, what I should have done, I didn't think about it, I could have used that garbage pile as a stash, and I didn't. Because I think the hide's gone when I go back. So I rush back. Oh, nope, it's still there. I got it. Okay, good. But yeah, I mean, you got to change your mentality to stashes. That's what becomes super important when you're just playing with such a minimal inventory. Um, is to use lots and lots of the places in the environment around to stick things, so that you can then later go back through and pick them up. One of the things I neglected to say at the beginning, this is this particular invisible HUD is spheres that I'm playing with right now, but it's got a little bit of a problem right now where it skips it doesn't allow the initial um, quests. So there was no um, training quest and there was no trader quest to do on this playthrough, which actually wasn't that bad. I mean, it hurts missing out on those experience points. Makes it a little bit of a slower start, but it was nice to not be forced into that routine of crafting and building the things that the quest want you to craft. So I was checking there just to see if maybe I'd done enough to go up a level, but nope. No Roland. There you go. See that? Don't want feathers right now. I want something else. What's funny, as most of you probably know, is when you're playing this game, everything that you're wanting to do is like racing through your mind. You're like, okay, I wanna get some stuff smelted. I want to get the anvil crafted and going, with my forge. I need to secure, some food and water. I was thinking about the stash that I had left behind in my spawn area that had some things that I wanted to make sure to get. Um, I knew I needed, enough wood. I needed this and that. I mean, there's, 100 things going through my mind. And normally, I could have multitasked some of those things all at the same time because of all of my inventory. Wouldn't have to just focus on one thing at a time. And so that was quite challenging for me to keep my focus. I mean, I kept going from one thing to another, and I had thought briefly in my mind earlier in the day, okay, I need to, once I get to the a place where I can hole up for the night, I need to go back and get the stuff in that stash that I created. So uh, it wasn't until now that I suddenly remembered, oh yeah, I gotta go do that. So it is kind of interesting. Fun. I liked it. I enjoyed um, trying to prioritize um, the tasks that I needed to do instead of being able to, you know, do a bunch at the same time. I mean, normally I would be making, I could be making wood frames, um, or something else. Even right now, I was thinking, oh, I'm collecting all this stuff, and I'm supposed to go back and transport my stash back to the house, and now my slots are all filled. So, then crafting arrows to try to empty those slots. And then I was thinking right here, okay, I'm not gonna keep killing zombies. I'm just gonna run past them and get my stuff and get it back to my house, because that's what I'm here for. The reason I came over here was to get that stuff. But, it's hard to resist killing a good stomper dude. With the way the sway is with the bow right now, it's so hard to hit things when you're on the move. Which isn't a bad thing, I don't think, but it takes some getting used to. Good thing there was nothing, because I kept forgetting that I needed to save blank spaces for the stuff in my stash. Yep, let's get more arrows, more feathers. You just don't think about these sorts of things when you're playing normally. You just, you run through and you just pick up everything. There it is. So now the decisions. Yep, just had to go. So that would clear those, and that's not necessary. What will I take? I decided on the food. Oh, I had one more slot. I guess I didn't want the tape. I think I should have taken the tape, just in case I broke my leg and needed to make a splint. So I wasn't feeling too worried, just because with the new stealth system and the bad AI, it's pretty easy to survive outside these days. Good. Now, I, I was so excited when I got that pipe, but I think I forgot that I already have a forge, so it was kind of a derpy moment there. I should have. Pipe's not really needed because I was lucky to find a forge, but I guess, whatever. When your mind's racing over what you're going to do next and what's your next plan, you don't always think things through carefully, which is a survival aspect. If you're not thinking through things carefully, that should lead to mistakes that could possibly cause you to die. The nice thing about large inventories like what we have is that you have some leeway. You can make stupid choices. I mean, or no choices at all. I, if this was a regular backpack, I could have kept the wood and the pipe and everything. I could have, and the whole. I wouldn't even have to have made the stash and gone back for it. I could have spent the time doing other things, and that's where I think that a smaller inventory does impact the survival game because you're having to make more choices. You're having to not just make more choices of what items to keep and not keep, but you're having to make decisions of how you're going to use your time. I wasted part of my day, quote unquote wasted, by going back to get the food and water and other items from that stash that I had made. And with a larger inventory, I wouldn't even have to make that choice. That wouldn't have even been part of the game. Now you take those moments where I'm having to spend time doing things like transporting and running back and consolidating things and only being able to focus on one thing at a time, and that adds up. And pretty soon you're a day or two behind where you would have been, and that makes the game more difficult because you're getting closer to a horde night or something else, and you're not as prepared as you could have been. So, I now, in Jax's uh, defense, or what I agree with what he said, and also Jana, um, one more row on the inventory will probably not make that huge of a difference. It's probably not going to topple the whole balance of everything, and especially because we have such huge stack limits and things. But um, what I hope is that with the video I'm showing here, with only the tool belt in use and no inventory at all, that it's number one, it is possible to survive at least through the first day. Once I get more tools made from the forge and start wanting to go and scavenge, it definitely would be a pain. And having to use stashes all the time might end up becoming too tedious. I don't know. We'll see. I am still having fun and want to play through another day at least in this style. And then one thing I was thinking of was that maybe every time I level up, I could remove one of the gloves from the inventory so that my inventory would kind of grow along with my character. Um, but we'll see. I think for right now, I wanted to see how long I can go with just the tool belt and nothing else. But here's at least day one survived with no backpack, just what I can carry in my tool belt pouches and arms, and it wasn't too bad. It was kind of fun. I recommend it to anybody that wants to have a unique challenge. Don't make the same mistakes I did. Alright, this is Roland signing off from Navisgain, Random Gen, and I'll see you guys back in the forums. Bye-bye.